So how did you get fascinated by this whole field?
What fascinated me was things like confirmation bias. How is it that we seem to have such a sensitivity to information that confirms the beliefs that we hold, and makes it difficult for us to absorb information that cuts against our beliefs, and what we'll do in service of the beliefs that we hold, ideologies we have fealty
give
towards.
us an example.
Yeah.
Confirmation bias for
Sure.
those that have heard the term
Sure.
but don't really know what that means.
Right. So let's say I have a certain opinion on gun control policy,
Okay.
right? And let's say I'm more of like a fundamentalist when it comes to Second Amendment rights, right?
right.
I might read a study that shows that in a certain location, some sort of gun control measure was put in place and crime rates went down, right? I might look for some sort of reason to explain why this occurred such that it protects my beliefs. And I also think most audience members can attest to this, that these conversations oftentimes will immediately go to the source of the information, not the content. And might say, well, wait a minute. What's the fealty? What flag does that source fly? Mm-hmm. And they might think, oh, well, what they're doing is they're just engaging in a game of deception in order to convince me that my truth is not in fact the truth. And again, it gets back to the cynicism about having goodwill, good faith conversations that we're all trying to actually use our words to represent the world as it actually is.
So we've got a pretty dangerous little minefield out there when it comes to finding where the truth is. Mm-hmm. How do we go forth into all that with a better ability to detect what's true and what's not true? I mean, there's so much research that you've been through that I've seen in the brain research, and both of you, for that matter. I could rattle on, but I
think an answer.
Give us a sense of what came out of all that.
So what you talked about earlier, Thin Slice, the
Yeah.
Malcolm Gladwell book, and those very rapid exposures that can give us some sense, and maybe emotionally, of what we're dealing with in a given person. I think a remedy is to spend more time with the person. I feel as if, as a receiver of information, in an interaction, it's helpful to have a charitable attitude. Even if you do suspect
Mm-hmm.
deception, take time to really unravel the thread more. Just ask more questions. Keep your guard up if necessary. But the brain does a better job with more information intake. Don't make snap judgments.
Mm-hmm.
Don't judge someone based on a first impression and proceed to stereotype them, because that, again, comes back to confirmation bias.
Yeah.
You're sort of seeking to label and judge and then move on with your life, which isn't a particularly satisfying thing to do as a social being.